and David has one about attic insulation.
Yeah, David sent us a picture, Tom, of it, and you can too, by the way. When you go to our website, if you look at the bottom, there's a little button where you can attach a picture and send it, and we can show it just like this one we got from David. And he writes to us, Tom, the attic insulation in my 1971 Pearland home is the main priority right now that it's on his mind. All three of the bedrooms of his 2,200 square foot home are upstairs with the attic above them, and it's an accessible attic area. It covers about 1,000 square feet of his house for insulation purposes. The remainder of the roof is a vaulted ceiling over the living room and dining room and the entry areas with no crawl space. So Tom, David wants to know three things. One, what radiant barrier would you recommend for the decked areas that we just saw in the picture? Or two, the insulation is about as deep and dense as you can see at the very bottom of the picture there, Tom, throughout the attic. Should I add more before laying plywood down for storage? You're going to love Tom's answer to that one. And if so, how much would you recommend? And three, what type of attic ventilation should I have, and to what degree, and any at all? That's a big one.
It is, but it's the basics. It's attic ventilation, attic insulation, and radiant barrier. And you need all three. And each one does something different as far as the way heat is transferred. But as far as ventilation goes, that's the easiest one to answer first. Ridge vents, soffit vents, when the time comes, you put a new roof on, you can address that. Radiant barrier, in this case, I say the spray is the easiest and the least expensive. You can get them in, get them out, and get your savings immediately. And a radiant barrier is a must. As far as insulation on the floor of the attic, well, we're going to get to that one now. You go by the thickness. And an attic in the Houston area needs about an R30, and that's 14 to 16 inches deep. So the idea of putting plywood on top and using it for storage also is going to defeat the purpose. So you have to make one of two decisions. Are you going to use your attic as a junk room and junk it up with a bunch of stuff you'll never use for the rest of your life?
How do you really feel?
And someday somebody's going to have to clean it all out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Been there.
Especially if you move.
Thank you, Sandy. My wife did it.
An attic is not a place to store things. Maybe a box of Christmas decorations, but don't put a bunch of stuff up there. But if you want to, you can. And if you do, you're not going to get your full R30. So just fill it up to the top of the ceiling joists, put your plywood down, and that's what you got to go with. And the only way you know how much you have is by measuring the depth. 14 to 16 inches of fiberglass insulation is about an R30. If you're down around 5.5 inches, which would be a standard ceiling joist.
Which is what his looked like.
Yeah, that's going to be about an R19.
All right. Do you have a question? Be happy to help you out too. Click on the Ask Tom button, send it our way. We'll answer it here on the website or on Sunday morning on early edition starting at 8 o'clock. Of course, you can always get your questions answered live with Tom every Saturday and Sunday on Sports Radio 610.